kia ora, whakalofa atu, and no mai hoki mai, hara mai ki tōku podcast. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm so grateful that you are here. Ngā mihi nui kia koe. On this week's podcast episode, we are talking about speaking up. Speaking up, sister, whether that's speaking up to, your partner, to your family and friends, to the auntie that always comments on your weight, to your family members that always tell you to shut up or try to silence you, in work environments, if you need to speak up, if you're out, starting a business and you need to speak up and you need to say what you want to say and all these things, this is the podcast for you, the podcast episode. And it's so important. And I've had some amazing conversations with women in the DMs about this because I recently launched or gave out a free training, and it was all about how to become a wahine toa and build your confidence. And one of the things I really talk about is speaking up, speaking up for yourself. When your auntie, tells you that, oh, you've put on weight or comments on your weight or how you look or how you're living your lifestyle, to be able to say, hey, auntie, like, I don't appreciate you saying that, or it's not nice to say that. Please don't talk to me that way, to be confident enough to say that and not just push how you feel and zip your lips and don't talk back because that means you're disrespectful, and be seen and not heard, and don't ask questions and all the things, right? And this stems a lot from the kind of childhood I was raised in. I had a really strict Nuan dad, and it was very much like be seen and not heard, do what I say, don't ask questions. And I remember saying to him one time, was like, oh, I remember, like, as an adult, I said to him as a kid, I remember, like, you just were like, get in the car, like, don't ask questions. You couldn't ask where you were going, what we were doing for the day, all the things. It was just like, get in the car. And I was like, why'd you do that? And he's like, that's what my dad used to do. And I was like, yeah, but didn't you hate it? And he's like, yeah, of course I hated it. So I was just like, why would you want to do that to us, right? But it goes back to not it goes back to doing the work, right? If you don't like something, why would you pass that down to your kids, right? It's this generational cycles. And if people don't realize, like, oh, fuck nah, I hated that, I'm not going to pass that down to my kids. I'm sure there's plenty of things that he didn't pass down, but those were one of the things that slipped through the crack, right? And he passed it down. And now I see beautiful children, sometimes when I see children, they're so loud and outspoken and voice their opinions and they're confident and all these things. I'm like, yes, like that's what we need more of, right? Because as a child, I was very timid. I was quiet. I never spoke up for myself. I never said what I wanted. I struggled to see the value in my voice and what I had to say and my opinions. And I would let, shit get shoved under the rug and all these things. And then it wasn't until I got to a certain age where it just came out and I was just like, rah, kind of thing. So I think this podcast is going to talk about that. It's going to talk about maybe some key factors or some points that could help you if you really struggle to be heard or to speak up. It's that practice of confidence as well. And I would highly recommend to get my free training. I'm going to link it in the show notes below for that free training, or just message me on Instagram and I'll send it out to you. But I know that that'll help you so much. So the importance of speaking up for yourself is firstly, actually, before I even go there, I just want to talk about how important it is, like how important your voice is. And this was something I had to do for myself through all the work that I've done. I was always seeking outside validation because I thought all of me wasn't important. What I had to say wasn't important. The way, you're looking for outside validation to tell me that I was okay. So I had to learn and teach myself how to validate myself, how to tell myself that I'm okay and what I'm doing is okay. And I back myself and I trust myself, right? So it's that self-validation, telling yourself that leash, whatever your name is, fill in the blank, your voice matters. What you have to say is important. And to not silence yourself. A lot of the times when we're at work or in situations and when you feel like you have that gut instinct to want to speak up, you talk yourself out of it. And it's like, no, we need to stop talking ourselves out of it. We need to stop telling ourselves that our voice isn't important. We need to stop being or stop fighting with ourselves and our inner voice, that when something comes up, telling yourself that, yeah, Leash, what you have to say is important. That thing you will have on your heart, oh, that's so important. Invalidating yourself. You're fucking amazing. What you did was amazing. Standing up for yourself was amazing. You about to speak up for yourself is amazing. You putting up your hand is amazing. All the things, right? And I think this goes back to, and a lot of the work that I do is around self-love and worthiness, right? Building up that worthiness and really getting to know yourself. But there's a lot of unlearning that we need to do, unlearning that your voice isn't important, that what you have to say isn't important, the be seen and not heard type of things, asking questions. We have to unlearn that. It's okay to ask questions. It's good to ask questions. Your questions are valid. Your questions aren't stupid questions. I know a lot of family members who do try to silence, the siblings and stuff like that, because they don't want to cause a fuss or have those hard conversations or cause drama and stuff like that. And I feel like it doesn't have to be that way. You can speak up without causing drama, right? You can speak up without it being confrontational or without there being a huge fight or a breakup in the family dynamics and stuff like that. And if that does happen, also trust that that's just the way that it had to be. Either you shut your mouth and don't say anything and just fucking have resentment and anger to everyone and don't say anything, or there might be a big fucking drama. Your family might split up and all these things, but which one would you choose, right? I would rather speak up for myself and validate myself and be good with myself and tell myself I'm worthy and walk around the world with no resentment and no anger than to hold that all and fucking hurt myself. Sometimes we think we're protecting other people, but in the midst of it all, we're actually hurting ourselves. And at the end of the day, it's like you have to put yourself first. Would you rather hurt yourself or somebody else? You have to put yourself first. You have to make sure you're good. So you need to know your worth. You need to build that up in yourself. You need to validate yourself. Know that what you have to say is important and all the things. And there's probably a lot of work you need to do there. There's that self-awareness. You need to know what is it that you need. Where in the world do you need to speak up? Is it with family? Is it with friends? Is it with your partner? Is it at work? What is it, right? And then when you do go into having these hard conversations, it's taking responsibility for who you're being in that situation, right? A lot of times people are like, you, them. And I actually didn't realize this till recently. You know how people say, like, when you point out, there's 3 fingers pointing back? I was always like, I never got it. I don't get it. What is that? And now I'm like, it makes sense. You're pointing out to people being like, you. And it's like, yeah, but there's 3 pointing back. So look inside yourself. What is it about you that you need to take responsibility for in that situation that's making you feel that way? Right. And I think the most beautiful conversations that you can have, and I have a lot of these conversations with Metz, is when I go to him, it's like, I want to take responsibility for how I've been showing up. I want to take responsibility for this, that, and the other, and then it opens up that safe space for them to then share. And when you have these conversations as well, it's, not being aggressive, it's that calmed, relaxed state. And the beautiful thing that I've shared a lot in this podcast, I feel like, is that setting up a time and place. Hey, Auntie, can I talk to you at 5 p.m. on Thursday? Are you available for 1 hour? Just me and you. We can sit at the table. I just need to share something with you. Hey, boyfriend, can we have a talk at 10 a.m. tomorrow? I just want to share something with you, right? And then it's when you get to that space, you're calm, you're collected. You might even write out what you have to say, rehearse it, write it out on a paper, and just read from the paper, whatever you have to do, right, to get that out. So imagine you come to the space, your guard's down, you're calm, you're relaxed, you have your paper, you're taking responsibility for the way that you've been showing up, and then you tell this person. That's the best way that you can give this information. And whether they take it on board or not, It's like you getting that off your chest, right? You're doing it for you, not anything towards them. Hopefully there's a good outcome where your auntie says, I'm so sorry. I didn't know this was causing you so much pain. I'll never comment on your weight again. Or your dad says, I'm so sorry for everything that happened in the childhood. I love you. I want you to feel seen and heard and all the things. Hopefully they say that. But if they don't, also that's okay, because all you came to do was take responsibility for your side and to be like, cool, I'm good. I'm at peace now. I forgive you. All the things, right? So there's no expectations upon it as well. You're not going there to be like, you need to know this and that and this and the other, right? It's just speaking up confidently and knowing deep down in yourself that whether they validate the way that you feel or not, you're validating yourself. You're good within yourself. And when you have those conversations, it's, although you are sharing, but it's also listening actively, listening to hear their side or have that empathy for them. And also starting small. If there's a big conversation you have to have with somebody, it's like, fuck, that seems so intense over there. Just have a small conversation here. Just learn to stick up for yourself every day. Somebody cuts you in the line at the shops. It's like, hey, excuse me, I was here. I'm here. Speaking up for yourself in that situation, right? If you're in a room full of people and they make a comment that you don't appreciate, hey, I don't actually appreciate that comment. So starting small and slowly building it up. And I think as well, having these conversations, like I said, I had amazing conversations with women who have done my free training. And one of the girls was like, oh, I felt like I was going to cry. She had this conversation with somebody. She's like, I felt like I was going to cry. Oh my gosh, I was so scared and all the things. I'm like, invite those feelings. It's normal to feel that way. You're about to have a hard conversation with your auntie who's talked shit about you for 10 years, and you think you're just going to go in there all good. No, there's emotion, there's feelings, there's energy all in there. It's like, welcome it. It's okay. And one thing I always do before I start conversations is I just say, I know I'm already going to cry. Me, I'm emotional, so I'm going to cry, but it's okay. I'm just going to tell you how I feel, right? Some people get uncomfortable when they cry or they make it mean all these things. It's like preempting that and being okay, coming away from it. If you cried, if you accidentally yelled and screamed and all the things, Kate their pie. Have that self-compassion. Well done for actually having that conversation in the first place. Did you do it the best? Probably not. Probably shouldn't have screamed and yelled and all the things, but I'm trying, right? You're trying, having self-compassion for yourself, and then also being like, okay, what did I learn from that? Okay, next time I'm going to not yell and scream. Next time when it gets to that point, I'm going to leave the conversation and say, hey, I'll come back at a different time. And it's so important that we speak up for ourselves. We ask for what we want as well. This is the step to creating an amazing life for yourself. When your family members like, hey, can you babysit my kids? It's like, sis, I love you so much, but I can't babysit the kids because I've got to actually do stuff for myself. I've got to do some stuff for my goals and dreams. And being okay with that and knowing that you're a fucking amazing person, you're incredible, you're loving and you love those kids and you love your sister, but you've got to put you first, right? It's so funny because it's human nature, and I think it's with women as well. It's like we want to help. We want to help so much. We want to give everything up for everyone else, and it's beautiful, but it's also so detrimental as well. It's like you've got to be selfish. I do that in quotation marks because I think it's selfless to put yourself first, to fill your cup up 100 and then be like, yo, I'm going to help all these other people. Fucking powerful. That's fucking amazing. That's fucking incredible. So I wanted to make this podcast because I think it's so important. I think with the mahi that I do as well, I have Polynesian women reaching out to me all the time that like, I feel that same way. Oh, these conversations I need to have with my family members, and these fights from 10 years ago that wasn't resolved and they've just shoved it under the rug and gone on. And I grew up in a very similar household. Everything was shoved under the rug. It's like, let's fucking pull that shit out. Like, hey, let's deal with this shit. Because when we move on, it's fucking amazing. It's fucking better. And I love that me and my siblings are actually making actual changes to make this become a reality where we don't pass down those generational cycles. We've had many hard conversations and it's fucking awkward and you fucking cry your eyes out. And only, I think it was less than a month ago, three fucking hard conversations in one day. It was a lot. I cried a lot. I had a fucking headache because it was just so much, but it was so necessary. All those conversations, I couldn't even, first words, started crying, bawling my eyes out. And then there's that mind telling me, oh, you're so stupid. You can't even keep it together. You're a life coach. You should be able to hold it together and not let your emotions get the best of you and all these things. I was like, no, this is just how I express myself. This thing means so much to me that this is how I'm going to express myself. And instead of me being like, oh, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to have an awkward conversation. I don't want to cry and look stupid. And I say, look stupid. It's like me being like, fuck it. Let me cry. Let's cry. And fucking crying my eyes out and having that hard conversation because it's so fucking necessary. It's so fucking important for so many reasons. For the next generation, for future generations, for our kids to be safe, for you to be safe, for you to be safe in your own fucking body and be safe in the words that you say. Having that safe space, we all deserve to have a safe space where we're seen and we're heard and we're validated. How do we make that happen? We build it within ourselves. We are the safe space. I'm the safe space for me. I'm the one that sees myself. I'm the one that hears myself. I'm the one that validates myself. And we all need to do more of that. But yes, I just want to say it is fucking hard, but it's so fucking necessary. And I don't want to scare you, but this shit doesn't stop. I've been doing fucking this work for so long, and it's always gonna happen. It's a thing. It's gonna be for the rest of my life. When you know better, you do better, right? But yeah, that's it. That's the podcast. You matter. What you have to say matters. Your voice is important. You deserve to have that safe space for you to speak up. Please speak up. Please speak your truth. Speak your story. Use your words. I'd love to hear it. Come speak to me if you want. But ultimately, it's seeing yourself, hearing yourself. I love you. Ka kite. Koe kia. See you next week.